Welcome to episode 91 of In Touch with iOS, a podcast that talks about iPhone, iPad, Apple Watch, Apple TV, and related technologies, plus tips, apps, and gear. I'm your host, Dave Ginsburg. My co-host, Warren Sklar's here. How you doing, Warren?
I'm still home, like the rest of the world. How you doing?
I think we all are. Yeah. And I thought we'd do another different thing this week. Last week we did it on YouTube. This week we got it on Facebook. So I got some friends in the chat room here, and anybody wants to leave any comments and as we record the show and talk the topics that we talk about, feel free to put it in the comments section, and we'll answer them. So just let's go ahead and go over into our notes here. We have a lot to talk about. Lots of news that came out this week, as always. There's never a dull moment with news, and what we're planning on talking about today is all the updates. There was a lot of updates this week: iOS, iPadOS, and all of them. We'll kick into that, and we'll just get right into this because there's a lot to cover here. So, first story that caught my eye was this was an iPhone hacks, and iOS 13 bug stops the VPNs from encrypting entire traffic. Looks like a VPN. If not anybody knows, a VPN is a virtual private network that people use to connect. That adds an extra layer of security when you're on the internet. They discovered a bug which was actually started in iOS 13.3.1 and later, but found it to be blocking VPNs from encrypting all traffic. I don't know if you had a chance, you took a look at this article. What did you think on this, Warren?
I briefly looked at a couple of them. It's a couple places been reporting on it, and the things that kind of stood out to me were two things. One, it may not be a bug; it might be an intentional thing on Apple, a feature. And the other thing I read was there's some quick workaround that could fix or prevent this from happening. I'm trying to find that fix, but if you are affected and you have a VPN connected, you're worried about the encryption between you and the VPN server that you're connected to, there is some kind of fix out there that you could probably find on the internet somewhere.
Yeah, so it wasn't a huge vital thing that probably affects too many people listening here, but good to know about, just to be aware of, especially if you're using VPN for work, as a lot of people do use VPN for work, and just be aware of it. I think that's how we have to leave it there, right? T-Mobile now is accepting Apple Pay. Yay. To pay for your bill. So now I can make my 2% back on my Apple card when I pay my bill each month.
Is it 2 or 3? I thought I read something that said you're getting 3% with that.
Oh, you are right. Yeah. That's even better.
That is better.
I actually linked to TMO News, which this website focuses on nothing but T-Mobile topics, and that's even more awesome. So I'm even happier. So basically, what this means is that you're going to be able to set Apple Pay as your means of paying for your bill each month, and I automatically pay my bill each month. So because I got to get another discount for that, so then I'm not going to get 3% cash back every month on it, which is awesome.
Fortunately or unfortunately, T-Mobile is dirt cheap as it is. So
it is
3% of I think for the three lines I have, 3% would only be a couple bucks.
Yeah, no, I have 6 people on my line, so you don't know. So we could save a little bit here, so it wouldn't be too bad.
Why not? T-Mobile is definitely good at this kind of stuff, trying to make things easier and save money. So there you go. Another reason to have them.
Absolutely. So next story, I found this interesting and more amusing than anything else. This guy, I've been following him on YouTube for quite a while. I don't know if you've watched him. This is the I forgot Everything Apple Pro. He's got almost 8 million followers on YouTube. Talks a lot of good information about stuff, and he is an interesting guy. And of course, he has to destroy devices anytime he can, just to try things out. So the article title is "The New iPad Pro Still Bends." So we're getting a lot of great wave of first reviews of the iPad Pro, and it works great, but it still bends. Who is going to bend their iPad like this?
I think everything, I don't, there's, unless you have like an iMac or something, any portable device at this point, I think will bend if you push it hard enough. MacBooks and iPhones, and it's all going to bend. It's just how much you want to try to bend it, I guess, is what we're looking at. I like the comments though. I like this one. This is silly. A wasteful of perfectly good resources. Blah blah blah. People hate it. People hate it when people destroy like
I know.
$1,000 items. Yeah.
Okay, so he destroys it. He has money to burn. I mean, this guy's, I think his name is Philip. He buys iPhones. I've seen him do drop tests, dropping them from 10 feet up in the air. See, will it break? So he does the same thing with iPads too. So it's been interesting to see what he does. So, but though I remember when Ben Gate first came out and they were talking about the iPad bending, everybody was up in arms about it. I mean, crazy.
It was warp. There was bending like this, and then there was a warping thing where people were putting on a flat surface and they could kind of see air, space between the table and the iPad.
Yeah. So
yeah,
it's still bends. Just don't bend it, okay?
Yeah, don't bend it. Mine seems straight still, but I haven't really taken it out of the case. So there you go.
Nope, it's still good. It didn't bend. They keep updating old devices. In OS X Daily, they reported that iOS 12.4.6 is updates got released for older iPhones and iPad models. These are devices that are, we're at the end of the road for iOS 13. So that includes devices like the 6 Plus, the 6, the 5S, iPod Touch 6th Gen. And all really it is just security updates. I didn't see anything else. Did you?
I didn't even know they did the update. That's news to me, but I mean, it makes sense because they did it last time. So yeah,
they're still staying on top of it, which is great. I commend them for keeping things updated, and it is very cool that people who still want to hold on to their old devices, it's still supported so far.
So if you're looking to download this and update your iPad Air 1 to use the mouse and the trackpad, you'll be out of luck. So it's not going to help.
Oh, that's right. If you do have the old version, no touchpad or
no touchpad for you,
or mouse, no touchpad for you.
You're not even get iPadOS, right? You're still you're pretty much getting.
No, you're getting straight 12 point iOS 12.
Yeah, pretty much
on the iPad. So that no places there for you.
Nice.
And Apple Music, they've added another feature which I thought was kind of cool. It will start to show new music notifications from your favorite artists in the library. So if you have artists that are set as favorites in Apple Music, it's going to tell you and let you know, hey, this artist has a new music. It just came out. Check it out. They didn't have that notification before. I know are you much of Apple Music? Do you use Apple Music?
Oh yeah, I love it. Yeah,
me too.
I use. Yeah, of course.
I like this feature. This is
of course awesome. I like this feature, but all my favorite artists are the chances of them releasing anything new is pretty slim. Most of them are 80 or 90 years old and probably dead. So
yeah,
the kind of music I'm big into, like 70s and 80s kind of music, a little bit 90s. So the odds of anything new coming out, not so good for me.
Yeah. Just went into the Facebook chat room. I have to get a chuckle here. James Park says, can I sync my Newton to my Trio?
I had a Trio. I did have a Trio. That was a cool little device too.
But I didn't have it either.
No, I had the Trio, and was that a Palm? That might have been a Palm Trio.
Trio was a Palm, yeah.
Yeah, I love that thing. I think I had a little pen too.
Yeah, it had. I had the Palm Pilot. I had one of those.
Oh, the Pilot. Yeah, that was great.
The Palm, all the Palm stuff was great. This next story, Apple Developer app is out now. They released it, and they've already started readying it with video features. They're gearing up for their first ever digital-only Worldwide Developers Conference in June, and then they freshly updated the app. It's now called the Apple Developer app, and remember, it used to be called the WWDC app. So now it's going to be a one-stop shop for all the in-depth information developers will need. This is really going to be interesting to see how they do this, and I have a developer account. You as well, of course. Or do you? Do you have a developer account? Yeah. Okay. Yep. So why did I even question that? It'd be interesting to see what information they really share beyond, because people would pay to go to this show and pay a lot of money, and it was always a show we both wanted to go at some point in our in time here. But it's gonna be interesting to see what information they put out there besides the keynote and all the other stuff.
So I downloaded the app, and so there's a video section in there, and there are a few. There's a few videos in there now, but I can't tell if it's from this year.
Might be last year.
Last year, I think it's last year. Well, no, maybe. I think the last might have one that's new, but when I did go to WWDC 3 years ago.
Oh, you did go? Okay, I thought you
had. I did go. Yeah, I went to one time, the once in a lifetime time. I'm not going to go back. I don't think.
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody's going back, to be honest with you, but
yeah.
I think the app was it might have been the first year they even had this app, the year I went, and it was kind of cool to use the app and be there and kind of see some of the videos that you couldn't make it to, because there's a lot when you go there. A lot of these sessions run in you choose which ones you want to go to. It's not like everybody goes to the same one. There's hundreds of different sessions you could go to. So even if you go there personally, there's no way you're going to see everything.
Just like CES, like we talked about. Yeah, it's impossible.
So these videos are pretty much the only way you'll be able to catch up on anything, anyways.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. When you want to catch up on it, but I'm more curious to see what they charge for and what they allow to be out, for the developers who just pay for a developer's account.
Yeah. They could really do cool things with it. They could.
Oh, they should. They could. This is some opportunity.
Yeah, it's a good opportunity. They could give developers like some inside access to a lot of stuff that you would need a developer account for, and they could make public other things that are more obviously like the keynote. But there's some things during the week that are more for a general audience compared to developers, and maybe make some of that available publicly for free. So that that would kind of be Apple's not known to give away things for free, but I have a feeling this year they're not going to charge anything other than developer account for it.
Yeah, maybe because of everything that's been going on. Yeah, this is not going to be as big of an expense for them versus having it live and in person. So it's going to be interesting, that's for sure.
Yep.
Last story, and we're also going to use this as an app. Google redesigns its podcast app, and they actually brought it to iOS for the first time, which I was kind of surprised about this. They made a version available to the App Store for iPhone users, and it stays fully synced in all platforms, including Android, the web, and iOS. And you can pause a podcast, you can play it on your phone, you can automatically pick up where you left off. So a lot of great things are in with this. I was good to see that we have another choice when it comes to podcasting apps that are on your iPhone. What'd you think?
Yeah, no, I heard they released it, and definitely. I've bounced around. I've tried different podcast apps also, but I'm pretty much stuck on Apple Podcasts at this point.
I'm actually, which podcasting app I've become a fan of now is Pocket Casts. I was a Downcast fan. I use that one too, but I'm a podcast catcher crazy person. I have all these Overcast, Pocket Casts, Dropcast, Downcast.
I think I bought Overcast once. I bought a copy of that, and that's written by the guy who does the Accidental podcast. One of those guys there. So
Mark Arment.
Yeah, that's him. And I didn't find that one perfect either. The podcast app is fairly good. It's not perfect. I mean, there's sometimes I've had issues where it says it's you're not in a great area, but it said it downloaded you're not in great coverage. You downloaded it prior. It says it's downloaded, and then you try to play it, and it says the episode's not available. You got to redo things. So it has issues, but yeah, choice is good. Of course, it's going to be the Google haters that just going to say, no way, I'm not putting anything Google on my phone. That might, yeah, they say it's a podcast app, but it's really tracking your movements and good stuff like that. So
absolutely. So that is the news we had for this week. What we wanted to jump into a little bit is some of the things that are highlighted with the iOS 13.4 release this week. I think the most popular one everybody's really asking about is iPadOS and the mouse and trackpad support. You've had some time playing around with it, and we talked about it past episodes. What do you think it's so far? What did you use with it so far? You just said like a mouse, or did you have what did you have?
I don't have a trackpad. I have a couple of mice.
You have a magic mouse?
I don't have a magic mouse. The closest thing I was able to get to something that was sort of neat and functional is I have a Logitech mouse. It was fairly expensive at the time, and basically what it is the top of it is the same as a magic mouse, and you could pretty much do gestures on the smooth surface of the top of it. So I was able to do a couple things with that. Not everything, but I was able to do like a 3-finger up to get to the home screen, and the swipes to get back and forth. So other than that, the mouse function worked fairly well, and the swipes work well. I hear the trackpad, the Magic trackpad, is pretty impressive with it, though.
Yeah, I've got the Magic trackpad. I use it for my Mac, and I haven't had time or tempted to switch it over to the iPad to see how it is. But I think I need to do that and get back to everybody, give them a review of what it's all about. So we could definitely check that out.
I think I definitely decided I'm getting the trackpad mouse floating iPad-y thing.
Oh, right. We'll get
comes out in May.
That's coming out in May. That's the other thing that's coming out too with support with the new iPad Pro keyboard with trackpad. And yes, it does float. It doesn't, not the old one where it laid flat, which is really neat. I'm again, like I said, with that keyboard mouse combination, I was curious to see how strong that magnet really is, because it obviously is, as they show it in the picture.
At first I'm like, what am I going to use that for? But then the more I see pictures of it, and the more I see,
it's hot.
It's hot. It looks like something I'm going to want.
But before I go on to the next one, I have to make the comment that what are you going to do now? You're going to be in beta withdrawal for a while. Because I put an image right now. The developers account says, sorry, there are no current beta software available for you right now.
I'm thinking next Tuesday or Wednesday, I'll be back to normal. They'll release the next beta out. Which
probably I would venture to say it's going to be 13.4.1 will be your beta.
That's fine.
Then I think Mac OS will probably have 13. What are they on? That's 4 now. Probably 5 is coming out.
They'll definitely. Usually it's within the week they start the beta process again. Although the way things are now, who knows? But with these betas and the iOS releases, I actually think it's with everything going on in the world, it's probably good for that kind of stuff. There's more developers, that can't do much anything else, and they're probably bored and stuck at home, and they're probably working on a lot of this stuff, probably even more so than before.
That's true. The other thing is the iCloud sharing in the Files app, which is awesome. iCloud Drive folder sharing is now available in the Files app. So now it's as simple as tapping the folder and saying share, and you pretty much have an instant share of the folders. Finally, that's been a feature been requested for quite a long time. Being that you only had choices like Google Drive or Dropbox, and then many of those services that let you share files.
Sharing. What does it say? Yeah, it says share on cloud. So we'll have to try that with our notes if possible. So
yeah, we want to really try that and see. We might do that the next week, and because we use Google Docs for our show notes. We'll see how that goes. Maybe do a notes share and see where it goes with that. So The good thing too is you can control all the limits to access to only people you explicitly invite or grant access to. So it's real clean cut and secure.
Yep.
And then the permissions to choose who can make changes and upload files that can only view and download files. You make the choice. If you only want them to view the files, then you can set it. So you have control of the permissions, which is great. The other thing was the Memojis. Do you use your Memoji? I have one. I haven't used it much. Have you?
I made myself one, and then I thought I was going to do more with it, and I did not. So, no. The answer is no. I don't do emojis.
Yeah, it's hit or miss to me. But they did add new faces, including smiley face with hearts, hand pressed together, party face. I think they also had one where you're holding your Mac and.
Oh, that'd be good. Well, wait, there's a Memoji where you can make a representative of yourself, right? With
yes, that's the Memoji.
That's the same. Yeah. So they had one where you could put
emoji.
Okay, and you could put the. So I made one. I had my AirPods in, and I had I remember they added the AirPods, but yeah, maybe I'll play with it again. Why not?
So the Mail app, this covers both iPadOS and iOS, is the always visible controls: delete, move, reply, or compose a message in the conversation view. So you can, when you open up an email, it's right there now. I'm finding I'm liking the delete trash can right there on the left, so that the email is there. You just go down, tap it, delete. It goes right into the trash, and you're done as you keep reading.
Yeah, my muscle memory finally caught up with me, and I'm back on track. So the way it is now,
we talked about it when it was in beta, and I've been using it for a while now, and I think it's been working really well. I actually like it.
Yeah, once you get used to it, it's fine. So a lot of people are just going to have a little bit of breathing room, for a little bit, and need to kind of concentrate where they're clicking, but. They have moved around, so keep in mind when you're flagging. I'm still flagging things sometimes that I don't want to flag, but what can you do?
Yeah, and it does respond. The responses to encrypted emails are automatically encrypted when you have that configured. So you have some encryption improvements in there. That's a lot of behind the scenes stuff that most of you probably don't think about too much,
right?
Quite frankly,
or at all.
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say or think about at all, but the encryption.
Who thinks about encryption, right?
Security people.
That's about it.
Yeah, pretty much.
And also, we in the App Store, universal purchase support is now going to enable the singular purchase of participating apps. That's a key word across the iPhone, the iPod Touch, the iPad, the Mac, and the Apple TV. So finally, across all platforms, you can buy an app and it'll cover everything. Right now, before it was fragmented. Then you had iPad, iPhone, and of course iPad Touch with that package too. And then the rest of it was fragmented. So it's going to be interesting to see what the developers do. Now we can get into Mac and Apple TV as well.
Yeah, hopefully we'll make Apple TV App Store a little bit more interesting than it's been. So that's possible. I mean, if if you could get some kind of cool app on, your Mac or your iPhone, and you could continue it on the Apple TV, or, do a couple things that kind of work together with the Apple TV, that would be, I've always said there, I know there's a few things out there, but I always thought they're missing a boat with board games on the Apple TV, and because everybody has their own iPhone as a controller, and they could pick they could roll the dice in each. So I think those would do well, and they didn't. I've looked. It's been a while since I looked, but they don't have that much stuff on it, and like even Xbox and other consoles do have it, and I just think as a family. As a center of family entertainment, it would do well with those kind of I want to say multiplayer, non-action type of games. I guess more family oriented multiplayer family games. I think they would do well with.
Yeah, absolutely. And then also in the App Store, they what they did do is recently played games in the arcade. Games appear in the arcade tab, so you can continue playing on any of the devices. So if you move from your iPad to your iPhone or vice versa, or your iPod Touch or your Mac or your Apple TV, it'll show those recently played games, and then you'll be able to go right back to them on any of the platforms, which is great. And the list, and then it'll be a list view for seeing all games. So not everybody has the Apple Arcade. I tried it. And I'm not a gamer, so but these are like if you have a game that you bought, it'll be able to do that. So which is cool. CarPlay they added for the iPhone and to your car. Third-party navigation app support is on the CarPlay dashboard now, which is great. And then the in-call information is now going to appear on your CarPlay dashboard, which is also great. And we're both itching to get CarPlay.
Big time. It's either a Tesla or CarPlay. I haven't decided which one yet. So. You
were still thinking about doing a Tesla.
Yeah, I am. We'll see how it goes. We'll see how the year turns out.
So I won't bore everybody with all the rest of the stuff that's really out there. Because there was a lot of bug fixes. Let's put it that way. WatchOS 6.2. What they introduced was in-app purchases for Apple Watch apps, which is interesting. I'm not wanting to use a lot of apps on my Apple Watch. Do you?
No, I don't think I use any other than the stock stuff. I think basically time and notifications, and occasionally messaging and email. In a pinch, but mostly just notifications. Just that use of notifications is well worth the price of entry for the watch. I mean, that's even if they didn't have any apps, or even if there was no apps on it that I would ever use, just if it just did notifications and what it does now, I'd still be happy with it because that's what I use it for.
Yeah, so it's definitely a great device. I love it, and I may start diving into some of the apps as I go here. The other thing that it had a fix where there was an issue where the music playback could pause when switching from Wi-Fi to Bluetooth connectivity.
So that
minimal as far as any of the differences goes. If you look at tvOS, I don't think there was really much out there. Did you see anything?
No, I didn't. I saw nothing, and my Apple TV pretty much updates itself, and I'm assuming it's still updating itself at this point.
Yeah,
but there hasn't been many features added in any.
Really hasn't. They've kept it scaled down.
Yeah, I think they're still kind of trying to figure out what to do with it. I think at this point they just want you to have an Apple TV to watch Apple TV Plus for the most part. So I don't think they want you to do much more with it at this point, or at least it doesn't seem like they're trying to make it do anything more than what it does. As far as watching Netflix and Apple TV Plus and things like that.
You even go into their support notes. It just says this update includes general performance and stability improvements. Didn't we say that in harmony with Guy yesterday?
Pretty much. But if you think about it, there's just if we put it out there and said, what would you want to add to Apple TV as far as the base OS goes? I don't think we would really be able to come up with much, like a wish list of what it doesn't, what we wanted to do at this point. Karaoke, that'd be cool. Does it actually does it do the
I believe it does
music lyrics? Yeah, that's cool. And then maybe if they could strip out the vocals, that'd be even cooler. Just some karaoke on that thing.
The HomePod, they did release update to it. Nothing much to it. They basically general performance. Just figure I mentioned some of the things that there was no detail on it other than saying that it's general improvements for stability and quality. No other details. It'll automatically install once you install 13.4. So I've got that set for the HomePod. You have a HomePod, right?
Yeah, I think the last major release they added a couple of features, and one was that I got now a lot if I'm on the telephone or if I'm on the phone on my iPhone talking. and I'm close enough to my HomePod, it will ask me if I want to transfer
Yeah.
to HomePod. So that's kind of a new thing too. So it's done a little bit more, but I haven't noticed anything different once I did the update. Of
Yeah.
course, a month or two from now, somebody will say, you know what? After this last update, my base level is slightly, tinny or less. They'll start talking audio ease on us and say, yeah, after the
Yeah.
update, it degraded to sound at some point, but hopefully not. It sounds the same to me.
Yeah. So yeah, that's pretty much it as far as the updates go. We hopefully you'll have some beta to dabble in next week, Warren, because you're itching for it.
Yeah. Yep. I feel kind of naked, to be honest with you.
That's right.
I feel like the commoners.
Oh my God, you're funny. So I wanted to just circle back, touch base a little bit on the iPad Pro. We did talk about it pretty extensively last week. But I don't know if you had a chance. I mean, I tend to like to watch a lot of the hands-on videos and others that I did not purchase it. So I mean, I have a 2018. But I've been obviously an iPad Pro user for a long time since it's been out, and with all the unboxings and hands-ons that have been released out there, I wanted to just kind of have a discussion a little bit about is it really going to be worth the upgrade? Because we both have the 2018 model, and what are your thoughts? Did you have a chance to watch some of those videos?
Yeah, a little bit. We go through this every time they release a new product of something that we have. And it's always the same story every time they release something that's kind of on the border of whether it's worth upgrading or not. Generally, at first we say no, I don't need it. There's nothing really I want to do with it, and then something makes us change our mind with that, like some kind of feature or something that you could only do on that product. So
Right.
Watching the unboxings. In fact, I saw an article today that somebody said that the chip is just a rebranding of the 2018 chip, which is with a little bit more GPU support, which probably wouldn't matter to me anyways. So, from from an operational standpoint, I wouldn't get anything out of upgrading to the new one.
No, not at all.
As far as using it. And the camera thing doesn't do much for me. And the only thing I've said before is, unless this lighter thing does anything really cool that we have to have, then I don't see the point. But as I said, I've been in this trap before too, and I usually end up eating my words. So, but right now I don't feel it. I don't feel the need. Yeah, as I said, I think I told you before that definitely interested in the accessories, the new accessories coming out in May for it. And I think the fact that it fits our current iPads is great. And, it's going to make our current iPads feel like a whole different device, which is great. And, again, unless there's some secret thing, and Apple does do that sometimes. They're like, I've seen that with laptops too, where it looks like it's going to be the same, but there's just some secret performance thing that nobody knew about. Like, unless that happens, I don't think I'm going to do it.
Me either. I think I'm going to sit chilly for this one. Camera doesn't really justify it. I already have the 11 Pro Max as it is, so I'm not one taking pictures with iPads very often, if at all. And then the augmented reality stuff, not too excited about either. So it's going to be interesting to see where that goes. I mean, there's been we've had a few people. I saw a few people posting Max to Future said that they bought one, but they might be one that they're upgrading from. If you're upgrading from like an Air, or if you have one of the older Pros, maybe the first gen Pro, 100%. I would probably consider it. Yeah, I know, Guy.
Yeah, 100%. And
we're talking
a lot of. Oh yeah, for Guy, and a lot of people, they say it's very similar to the one that came out last year, but it's the same price, and if you're going to buy one, buy the new one. I mean, right now the thing is you could get our generation ones for pretty good prices now. So if somebody was looking to save some money and they asked me, if they would be okay getting the older one, I have no problem saying, yeah, go for the older one. Where, a lot of other times I wouldn't suggest, getting the older version over the new one. But in this case, if you're saving $200-300 and, it's almost the same, it's really almost the same iPad.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah.
It really is. So that's our take on it, and we can leave it at that. And if you have any feedback you want to ask us, we have our email address, feedback@intouchwithios.com. Happy to take any questions out there about that. So now with the COVID-19 pandemic going on, and everybody has just been very tied to hearing about that, and we try not to talk about it too much because we want to bring things more and spin to the fun of technology. And unfortunately, it's our lives right now. We're all quarantined, shelter in place. But I wanted to kind of talk a little bit about some of the way that people are doing virtual meetups. So two of the most popular ones right now are Zoom, which we're using right now, actually. And we're using Zoom to broadcast this live onto Facebook as we record this, and FaceTime. And have you have done, I'm sure, both. And obviously with Zoom you have. FaceTime, have you done a lot with your family or friends with FaceTime?
Yeah, for the past week or two, there's been we did Zoom with a couple family members on my.
Yeah.
So my in-laws mostly have Android stuff, so FaceTime's not going to work for them. My
Right.
family mostly has stuff, so FaceTime worked on our side, and
Yeah.
most of my friends are iOS users or iPadOS users, so pretty much the FaceTime worked for that. But the Zoom worked out really well as well. I started playing with there's also another free one that's out there from Cisco, which is
Yep.
WebEx.
WebEx. Yeah, they actually opened it up for free, which was really
Yeah,
interesting.
so we played with that one too, which was kind of it was fine.
Definitely business. That's why I really did bring that up. As it's a very business related as far as what it offers. I mean, Zoom is too, but I think Zoom is a little less as what WebEx does.
Yeah, Teams. People are using Teams for videos,
Right.
things like that.
Teams is free now for anybody.
Exactly. So a lot of these places are offering free access, mostly for the good of mankind, and the other for
what we're experiencing right now. Absolutely.
Yeah, but in their mind, they know that when things get better, that people are going to say, hey, we use that Zoom, to when we were stuck at home to talk to each other, and it worked out pretty good, and now we're we need to do this again here and there, and they'll price it out. So it's definitely a good business decision, I think. Certainly, the Zoom stock went up about 150% since we put some money into it, which is great. So if you would have invested $1 million, you would have too. So so they're doing, it's doing well. And as far as which one's better, I think it's going to depend on the situation. If everybody's on iOS, FaceTime's great because it's kind of you just pick your contact and you go. Where Zoom and yet some of the others you have to manually send out a link
Right.
or share it. I mean, it's not as intuitive as FaceTime is, but it works just as well.
Yeah, let's get in a little bit of that. I think the setup is streamlined quite a bit for Zoom. For the case of this discussion, I wanted to kind of just zero down to just Zoom and FaceTime. It does have ease of setup for business, especially for business, and you can get people up running quickly. And as we mentioned, they do have a free account. You can install the app. It does give you option up to 100 people can join at once, which is crazy. I don't know if I would have a meeting with that many people, but I've seen it. And the cool thing is they are giving this away for free, but your meetings are limited to 40 minutes. You have to end the call and that stuff. So, and you don't even have to have an account. I mean, just one person signs up and then they can just click the link. And it brings you to the web, or you can use the app, whatever you choose. We use the app. I think the app is really streamlined, really easy to use, and it works real well. And the same thing with FaceTime. If you compare FaceTime's first setup goes, you know, you have all your friends in your contacts list, and you want to join in. I believe 25 is the max for FaceTime, if I remember correctly. If that's the number.
Right.
That's
But
pretty
unlimited time. There's
unlimited
no
time.
Yeah.
But let's go down to the user interface. Now, user interface on Zoom is really built really well as a meeting tool, so it's nice and clean. Doesn't give you a lot of distractions. FaceTime, you can get kind of distracted. So if I'm comparing business versus personal, it's okay. I mean, it's fine. It's fun. Because you look at other stuff like if you're using like Facebook Messenger or WhatsApp or any of those types of apps, it gives you a nice simple way to contact people, and it's not not critical that it's distraction free. Whereas in the business side of things, you want to have a nice clean interface, and Zoom definitely wins in that one. The larger gatherings, as we mentioned, up to 100 participants in every meeting with Zoom. I'm sorry, that's right, 32. I knew that was the number. I couldn't remember it. 32 is the number for a group FaceTime. And I think Facebook Messenger handles up to 50. And WhatsApp's even more limiting, but I don't know. I don't hardly know how people use WhatsApp much anymore. I guess they're still
in the US. Yeah,
it's still out there. Yeah. So, one thing Zoom has over a lot of FaceTime for sure is scheduling calls. It is a meeting app, so you can set a scheduled time. Yeah. So if you want to be able to schedule a time to have a meeting, you can just put it in your calendar and send it out. FaceTime, you got to call everybody.
FaceTime is pretty much you get more of those. Oh God, this person wants to video FaceTime me now.
Exactly.
Moments.
Whereas there's an intent with Zoom. I know.
Zoom is like you're planning. This is planned. We're all going to do that. Where yesterday my friend called me and I look at my phone and he's like, "Oh, video Facebook, video FaceTiming me." I'm like, "Oh God, I look terrible. I haven't showered in about 4 days." Things like that. So, and FaceTime is definitely more of a relaxed kind of thing, and
it is.
But Zoom is fine for even relaxed kind of things too. So
it is, and that's what I've been seeing. My wife and her girlfriends have been doing Zoom meetings. It's been great. I've been love watching it because they're able to see each other because obviously we can't see each other in person. So, and if anything, it gets people more interactive. It gets people to want to be able to get onto things, and I think it works really well, based on what we talk about, iOS, iPad, and iPhone. It works really well. I think the apps on both those platforms is amazing. I mean, I think you can easily pull up your iPhone, start up the Zoom app, and get into a meeting, and away you go.
Strangely enough, there's a Zoom CarPlay app too.
There is. I would hope it's audio only.
It is audio only, but still, I mean, it's audio only.
Yeah, because you're in a pinch. If you're you got to get onto a meeting, and you want to be able to at least get in the audio part of the call. You definitely could do that.
See, I don't even think you could audio FaceTime. You can't. No, can you audio FaceTime from CarPlay? Not even sure.
Couldn't tell you because I don't have it.
I don't have it either. But there you go. You can Zoom from the road.
The video quality, I've noticed Zoom has really good video quality. For those of you watching on the FaceTime the FaceTime Live, Facebook Live, the quality kind of tends to drop a little bit because of bandwidth, and there's a lot more factors involved when you're streaming live like that. But I've noticed that Zoom, for the most part, is hold its own from many of the meetings that I've had. The quality is really good.
Yep, and people are, it's making news now. People are playing with the virtual backgrounds and things like that. So
as I am right now, as everybody sees.
Yeah, it's not perfect with the virtual background.
It isn't, because you can see through my headphones as I have on here.
Yeah, it's actually trying to figure out what the top of your head really is.
Yeah, it's the back. You can see the back of my room here, up here.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
But overall, I think my take on all of this is I think FaceTime is great for in a pinch, quick meetings, couple, maybe 4, 5, 6 people, if that. Zoom is good for larger audiences. We'll be doing a webinar soon. We added the webinar feature to our Zoom for our my Apple user group shortly here, and that adds even more tools. So it allows us to be able to maintain who comes into the room and be able to mute everybody and keep things in order. Because if you do a webinar, you get more. You're going to get a larger audience, that's for sure. So it's hard to keep it in control. So you have those tools as an addition too. The Pro plan, which allows you to have unlimited time through Zoom, I believe is $15 a month, but well worth it if you're going to be doing a lot of meetings and you want to have unlimited time and take advantage of all those features as well. So, anything else you wanted to add on that?
No, yes. The only thing do whatever works. I mean,
do whatever works for you, right?
In this time, don't make it as easy as possible for people. So a lot of people are not tech savvy, so that's the other thing. Even with Zoom and the Zoom, especially, we've had to type out instructions to some people. So you may want to do a test run with you and one other person. Make some notes down, and then before you send out your meeting or schedule, send it out to everybody and make sure they they know what to do before they get there.
Get comfortable with it. Use it. Using it with it. Just try it on your iPhone. Try it on your iPad. Just get comfortable using it, and there's no need. You don't even have to use your Mac. I mean, that's what's nice about it. You can sit on your couch and you can use your iPhone, or just stand up your iPad and you can have the meeting with that. And the camera, there's cameras on both, so
you could do it. You could Zoom yourself, which is the other point that just came up is feedback. With Zoom meetings, if two people or FaceTime or anything, if two people are in the meeting that are in earshot of one another, you are going to get feedback. So two people in the same house will need to move to different rooms, or one person will have to mute their microphone, which you could do.
Yes, and that definitely. So I hope that was a good overview between just the two products that are popular out there, and take advantage of them. That's for sure. So we've got left here is we got some tips here we want to talk about, and one of them is we've been talking about the Apple Watch. I figured there's another Apple Watch tip we throw out there. I didn't even know this until I found this. We have a link to the article on this. And how do you get a full keyboard on your Apple Watch for typing text? And yeah, did you even know it did this?
No, and I am probably better off not knowing that it does this. So,
the question is, why would you want a full-size keyboard in the first place? Because you can use dictation, or you can use Scribble and do a quick message. But what you can do is you can actually go through and actually get an app, and actually there's a Flick type keyboard available that's allows you to be able to type QWERTY. I mean, I don't know. My fingers are so big, I don't even know if I could ever type with those tiny letters. So it's kind of crazy.
That's crazy. One thing that while you mentioned this, we could talk about the tip too. But
go for it.
Yesterday, for some reason, my watch asked me to type in my iCloud password on my watch. Really? I did some update on my phone, so I wasn't surprised. It was legit. Yeah. But so I'm like, how am I going to do that? And I moved my watch closer to my phone accidentally, and on my watch it says "Open up keyboard on your iPhone."
There you go.
I had no idea that it does that. So there's evidently
the Apple TV does that too.
Does it? Yeah. So it's pretty much the same. Yeah, I've seen it on the Apple TV where you could type in that way, but it's pretty much the same on your. I don't even know how I did it and how it could do it again, but I'll look back into that. So there is a way to use your iPhone as a keyboard for your Apple Watch in certain fields. For some things, maybe at this point it's only an Apple to Apple thing, like the iCloud password, but it was cool.
Yeah, it's a small screen. So these two apps, it's called Flick Type and Shift Keyboard. They do offer complications, and you can add them to the watch face. So if you want to send a message quickly, but I don't know. To me, I'd stick with Siri and Scribble.
It says, the article says once you start using it, you'll realize it's not too bad with the Flick one. But yeah, I mean, hey, if I'm bored, I'll play with it. To see where it goes. You know who's going to like it? Kids.
Yeah, exactly.
That's just going to be cool.
Because they got small fingers.
Well, they have small fingers, and they're in class, and they're not supposed to be using their phones, but a lot of times they have the watch on. So this is how they're going to talk to each other. So
The other app, and this was a tip too, I wanted to talk a little bit about, was the Breathe app. Do you use the Breathe app? I don't.
I usually ignore it. It goes. It
I
says
turned it off. I stopped because it was driving me crazy.
I never turned that off. I never turned on the stand one off. I just leave them on, but I basically ignored what it's telling me to do. I think once or twice, I went through it, and it didn't kill me. So I guess
No,
that's good.
I think the article was really saying that does the Breathe app really know when you're stressed? And I let it go for a while, and I noticed it. It says telling you, breathe. But I didn't find it to be of any use to me, so that's why I turned it off. But this article does give you the tips on how to turn it off, if and information as far as whether you are going to want to use this. You can turn it in, allows it in the notification center. If you don't want it to ping your Apple Watch, there's a number of ways you can turn that. This is in that article to check out as far as you want to turn that off. I don't, again, like I said, I don't find it that great.
If I forget how to breathe, I got bigger problems than this.
Yeah, exactly.
Than this program here.
All right, like we talked about earlier, the Google just released the Podcasts app, and we were linking an article about this in Gadget, and this is a big deal, I think, as we talked about, and I think it's syncing across all the apps. Oh, I hear myself in the background there.
Yeah.
And
Facebook like it was you. That was crazy.
And they did revamp the layout, so it's divided into Home, Explorer, and Activity sections. And they have I'm liking the layout. I want to start playing around with it. I have an Android phone I play around with once in a while, but never spend a lot of time on it. But this is going to be interesting to see how Google competes with the Apple Podcasts app and iOS.
I'll try it. Yeah, I'll try anything once, and if I like it. So I'm assuming you could get the same all the podcasts you could get with any podcast app. Yeah. Yeah, why not?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you could easily you can easily do that. So, the second app I wanted to talk about was, and are you familiar with this app called Duolingo?
Yeah, my son actually did use this when he was younger, and it's kind of neat that it's.
Yeah, they have a new one for kids, and for you teachers out there, this is probably great right now because kids aren't working. Kids aren't in school right now. They'll be working when they're 18
and they're not working. Yeah.
No, they need to learn stuff. So this has short lessons that helps you teach the alphabet, phonics, and sight words to kids ages 3 through 6. And it has over 300 lessons. This is great for parents too, and to keep the kids engaged with learning, especially that age.
There's a bunch of these educational programs that are being offered for free now, because of the situation. So it's great. It's definitely nice to see technology. Kind of don't want to say contributing to the greater good, but they are. It does. They're doing what they can.
And then lastly, the app I found is it's called Moment Pro. It's a Moment Pro camera for iOS, and it added a new feature called time-lapsed mode. Well, we know about that in the camera app. And it's designed to be simpler to use, combining time-lapse setting intervals with slower shutter options. So a little different than what the the iPhone camera does. You can select intervals, number of shots, type of blur, all that stuff. So it's a full-out camera app. Combines you can all the shots will combine into one video. You can export them into up to 1080p or even 4K, and even raw photos if you wanted to at 12 megapixels. So they also added exposure bracket in photo mode, manual controls, so all kinds of stuff. I had not heard about this app, but I downloaded it today and wanted to check it out, and it seems like a pretty good photo app, I must say. And I don't know if you know anything about this app.
I heard about it today when they were saying they updated, but
yeah,
I will. I'll give it a shot.
Go check it out. If you already have it, the update is free. If you don't have it, it's $5.99 in the App Store. So not too terribly expensive. There are so many different photo apps out there that sometimes you just kind of be careful what you want. It may not have features you want, and you could skip this. But no, I don't.
I downloaded one called HDR for free the other day, which is there's a lot of things that do HDR, but they all want something. This one shows you an advertisement for it, and it's pretty neat. It's pretty good. It does what it needs to do.
Yeah, absolutely. So everybody stay safe out there. Anything else you had to add for this week that has been you've been thinking about before we close things out here?
No, we could just talk how nice and fast my new MacBook Air is, but that is not related to the show at all. So
but I'll let you rave a little bit. I am kind of jealous. That is a nice
It's
MacBook
nice.
Air.
So I had the 2018 model, and I loved it. But there's times where you can feel it not cutting some of the things I want to do.
That's the thing. We've talked about trying to make the iPad your a full-time computer. I think it's getting close. It's really, really close as it's ever been before.
Yeah. So, with that keyboard trackpad thing, I'm going to try again, but for now it's not there yet. And the MacBook Air is definitely a good alternative if you want something small and light that runs macOS. And the new one is Bueno.
All right. Great show. That's a wrap for this week. Please send your comments, questions, and suggestions to our email address, feedback@intouchwithios.com. You can follow us on Twitter @intouchwithios. You can subscribe in your favorite podcatcher, including Google Podcasts, as I have it on here for now on iOS, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher Radio, Spotify, TuneIn, iHeart. They're all there. But better yet, just go to our website, intouchwithios.com, where all the links to all the ways to listen to us are there. I am Dave Ginsburg, and you can find me on Twitter @DaveG65. Warren, where can they find you?
I am WSKLAR on Twitter, but I don't usually do that. I usually do Facebook, and when I say usually, I mean pretty much all the time. And we do a Mac to the Future Facebook group, which is linked in the show notes, which is really a great place to talk Apple and other tech-related things. Ask questions or just kind of hang out and talk about recent events or talk about life in general. And other than that, you could see me Wednesday night with David Ginsburg in
that's me.
In the Facebook Lives with doing a show with Guy Searle called
in the Facebooks.
The Facebook's called Back to the Future Go. And you can also find me in this podcast that you're listening to at this very moment.
Yes. All right. Thanks, Warren. And thanks, everybody, for being here. I hope you enjoyed it. People that were on the Facebook Live group, really appreciate you jumping on. And a few people stayed, a few people jumped off, but that's okay. I think it was a good experiment, and appreciate everybody.
Wash your hands. Make sure you wash your hands.
Make sure you wash your hands. And thanks, everybody, for listening. And we'll talk again soon.